So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today on studying in the Department of Management here at Glasgow Caledonian. I'm delighted to be joined by Dr Gerald Melvin, who is the international lead for the department and is going to take us through a webinar today on the courses offered within the department and what it is like to be a student with us. So I'll hand over to Gerald now, and in the meantime, throughout the webinar, if you have any questions, please feel free to post those in the chat and we will be happy to help and answer throughout. So I'll hand over to you now, Gerald.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you some little insight into working and studying with us at Glasgow Caledonian University. And I really look forward to actually just welcoming some questions from you, because although I have some slides and I can tell you some things, really it's the questions that you have for me that will make this a more valuable session. I should just point out, you'll see on the screen just now that there are two of our master's programs highlighted here: International Business Management and International Operations Supply Chain Management. We also have a third one, MSc in Social Innovation. Well, I actually don't have a slide on that program, I will be able to, and I will mention it and talk about it. So if you are interested in the Social Innovation Masters, and that's what you've come on today for, please stay with us, despite the fact that it is not on this opening slide. So I'll talk about the IBM, the IOSCM. I will talk about coming to study with us at Glasgow and living in Glasgow, and generally what we hope you get out of being a student with us. But I will also touch on our social innovation programme too. I just want to start off by introducing our programme leaders. So although I'm international lead, I am not the programme leader for the master's programmes that we have. We have Dr. Vasilius and also Dr. Andrea. So these slides will be available to you, and the contacts of the programme leaders. So it's just to give you some additional contacts. You're very welcome to contact myself after this, and then as you lead up to either making a decision to join us, or once you have decided to join us, if you've got questions, it's also nice to have some contacts and some familiar faces. I think I wanted to start with actually Glasgow itself, because with these programs in business management, you have a plethora of choice when it comes to study. There are many universities in the UK. We have a fantastic array of education facilities in Scotland and England and Wales. I just wanted to push the fact that Glasgow is the friendliest city in the world. And that's not just me saying that, it was actually voted the friendliest city in the world. So not only are we a fantastically welcoming place for you to come and live, study and work, we have a real depth of culture which we would love for you to come and experience. So whether you're into the great outdoors and the wonderful scenery that Scotland has to offer, short distance away from the world famous Highlands and the lochs and hills that we have, or whether you're into sport or music, heritage and history, shopping and eating out, Glasgow really does have it all. So although sometimes when people think of the UK, they immediately think of London, I assure you, you'll not be disappointed by a choice of coming to Glasgow. And on that theme of being the friendliest city in the world, being the most welcoming place in all of the United Kingdom, that is reflected in our mission and values at Glasgow Caledonian University. So you can see here on the screen here, we aim to reinforce our defined position as the university for the common good. And our values are our lived values, and it's reflected in our teaching, in our education as well. As you can see there in our vision, world leader in social innovation, we have our very famous Social Innovation Centre. And if you are coming to do a Masters in Social Innovation, that's where you will work. And it is definitely one of the best places to come and join us to do that. What that actually means then is that we have our goals that we want to do. So we do have a global outlook, an international outlook, but we're also very much connected to our local community, here in Glasgow, in Scotland, in the UK. So we balance our international outlook with our local community. We serve that. We work for the common good. We have relationships with businesses, big and small, social enterprises, public sector, and third sector organisations. So we very much live it in our work, in our relationships, and in our education experience. And that international outlook is reflected in our drive to help organisations throughout the world, but also individuals, work towards achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are embedded in not only our university strategy at a high level, but within each of our top programmes. And each of those modules which make up the programmes, they're all linked through to creating a better future for us as individuals and as collective community. So that is the sell of coming to Glasgow Caledonian University. We are a fantastic city, and we really believe and live out our values, our shared values. We see ourselves as citizens of the world. Now, a little bit more then of the practicalities. If you're joining this call today, you might already be aware of these things, but anybody can come into our programs, provided you have the requirements. A UK honours degree or equivalent, so an internationally recognised degree would be accepted normally at the equivalent to 2 or above. If you don't have English as a native language, you would need to have the IELTS or equivalent. And you can get more information on that on our website. But yeah, so those are our language criteria. No element on the IELTS below 5.5. So our programs are set in the Department of Management. The Department of Management is part of the larger business school. So Glasgow School of Business and Society. And I've got this couple of bits of information on here, which gives a sell of what makes us a good school to choose, because I recognise that as a prospective business student, you have a choice of universities, even in Glasgow. So although I've given Glasgow the big sell, you still have choice within Glasgow. We are only one of 12 UK universities who have a European Foundation for Management Development accreditation. Now, I'll be honest, that is specifically for our undergraduate programme as opposed to our master's programme. But I mention it there because the staff that work and teach and deliver these programmes, we work on both our undergraduate and with our master's students. So the quality of teaching, the quality of research that goes in to delivering our programmes, no matter at what level, there is a lot of shared skill there. Okay, so I mentioned that there, and it's if you have a look at the criteria for you can find this online. It is very much reflected in our master's programme. So it's just to give you some information of the style of work that we do, our international outlook that we have, and that will give it there. We are also a signatory of the United Nations Principles for Responsible Management in Education. What does that mean? Well, it's a very prestigious thing to have. It reflects the values which I talked about earlier, and it means that we are educating our students not only in the fundamentals of business theory and business practice, but with a sense of responsibility, with a sense of duty and care to the communities in which our businesses serve. So we take things like corporate social responsibility, corporate citizenship, extremely seriously. We embed that in our teaching and in our support for students. So that's just emphasised there on that slide. Okay. I don't want to just read out these slides that we have, but let's focus on the programs that we are delivering. So first of all, with the International Business Programme. And I think some of these things, and I'll come back to this in a few slides' time, but really what we're trying to develop within our students is to give you, yes, the substantive knowledge of business theory, whether that's strategy or operations management or leadership, finance, risk, but really is to develop citizens of the future. And I mentioned that word before, but to have real tacit skills, to develop your critical thinking, to develop your soft skills, the skills that are demanded in the workplace. Employers, when they hire you, when they hire your skill set, they will teach you how to be leaders and managers and workers in their organization. What you can bring to them is a sense of readiness, a sense of being able to think critically, to lead projects, to manage time, to give presentations, to write reports, to do research, to analyze data, to recognize what is valuable information and what is not. Effectively, lots of the skills which our artificial intelligence cannot do yet. So the things which make us human, we really are looking to develop. We have a range of modules, ones that you would expect to see in a quality Master's International Business Management program, going from finance, operations management, strategy. So a real grounding in all the key aspects of organizations today. You'll see things though that like leadership for the common good. So that is an ethics, sustainability and governance. And so these two modules really speak to some of those values that I was speaking about just a few moments ago. The numbers and brackets here are the credits, and they make up your degree program. Once you collect all those credits, then you graduate. You also have the research project there as well. The other thing just to note here, that if you decide, you can stay with us for 2 years and do the degree program with professional practice. So that is where you get a job in industry, and you're still a full-time student at the university, but you're working full-time, and you work with the university to write a report and to gain work experience alongside your degree, and that is an option for all the students if they want to do the 1 year master's program, or if they want to extend it for a year and do it with professional practice, they can get industry experience alongside alongside your study as well. So that's just to emphasize this point here. Okay. So if you do it with professional practice in the second year, you undertake the placement and you do a portfolio assessment. So it's an option for you. And if you are coming and you're unsure about to do the 1 year or to do the 2 years with professional practice, and you have some questions about that, then please get in touch. Please, let us know. Okay. So this little slide here is just to give you a sense of the type of coursework that you have to do. The thing to point out here is the variety in the coursework. So a lot of it is report writing or essay writing, but within that as well, we still have some group work and presentations, and that's important because group work is an employability skill, being able to work as part of a team and to organise that, and then also to give some presentation skills as well. Of course, in the workplace, these are sought after skills and are a great thing if English, especially if English is not your first language, to be able to develop different types of communication skills is really, really valuable. So we recognise that. So although the majority of assessment is report writing and essay writing, there's a variety of skills and assessments that we have too, and that just hopefully then develops through and makes you ready for the workplace, grows you as a person. So not only will you have substantive knowledge through your academic development, these traditional and innovative teaching assessment methods will get you ready for industry too. So I mean, I alluded to this through the last few slides as well. That I think one of the real values and benefits of doing a business degree, so whether that is international business, the supply chain management one, which is a little bit more focused on skill set, or social innovation, any of these degrees develop your workplace skills and the transferable skills which are required by industry. And these are not just things that I've made up off the top of my head. They are the OECD have identified these as the skills that industries throughout the world need from its employees today. So social and emotional skills, metacognition, be able to develop skills for lifelong learning, digital skills, so using artificial intelligence ethically, responsibly, using different ways to communicate, presentation skills, for example, writing skills, all these sorts of things, big data, and then critical thinking, because that's what stands us apart from machines, is our ability to think through things critically. And at the highest level, at the master's level, that's what we really expect and from our students. And of course, that is something that we are looking to develop within you. The degree enables you to get a variety of jobs because it is the skill set lays into it. So whether you're looking to go into sales, into finance, into consultancy work, whether you're looking to work for a big conglomerate global organization, or whether you're interested in working in public sector or charity work, the skill set are there to develop you, and we have students that go on to all these types of jobs that we saw on screen there. Now, specifically speaking of our international operations and supply chain management degree, we have some really nice badges of honour, and just to really showcase the quality, not only the quality of the programme and the teaching that we have, but also then the quality of jobs that are available to our graduate students. So we're double accredited. We've also got Yellow Belt qualification and carbon literacy certification as part of the course. So as well as achieving your degree, you actually come out with membership and certification, things which are desired by employees in this field of operations management and supply chain management. And of course, with the carbon literacy and sustainability stuff, that is embedded within the program, so it fits in really nicely. And we're looking to this future of sustainable development And the programme is aligned to that, to the needs of employers, and ultimately, I hope then the needs of you, the things that you want to do to make yourself stand out from the crowds when you are looking for a career in this field. So whether you're specifically looking to get a job in operations management or supply chain management, or whether you're just looking to do a master's degree in business, but with a bit more specificity around it, and you might actually just prefer the makeup of the modules in this degree, the skill set which I was talking about there for our international business management students certainly does apply here too. So you get all of those things, plus you get these lovely badges of honour and these really valuable membership certifications. So some examples of the companies which our graduates have gone on to work for, having done an IO-SCM programme degree. You can see them on the screen there. Some of them you might not have heard of, but some of them are certainly global organisations, and we are very proud that our students have managed to achieve jobs in these ranges there. And as it says there, because it's a conversion programme, we aren't just solely focused on teaching you operations management and supply chain management. You have to have some of those fundamentals of business as part of your learning as well. So it's a little bit more on the partnerships that we have and the accreditation that our programs have, and that you'll achieve by taking part in this program. So yeah, you'll see there that as well as these very specific modules about IO-SCM, we also give you those underlying business fundamentals as well: financial management, ethics and sustainability and governance, and leadership as well, but with a feel and a focus of IO-SCM. So it is an excellent program. Dr. Andrea, who I mentioned right at the start, who leads on this program, is well researched in the area and leads a real quality team to deliver your education. A little bit more on the prime, which I mentioned earlier on, just to emphasize that, and I'd encourage you to go and have a look about what that actually means, and it does help us stand out for from the crowd a little bit, but it also just emphasizes this these core values that we have at the university, which is reflected, as I say, not just in our education, but it's reflected in the way that we welcome you to the university and support you and the communities that we develop. So it is lived through all aspects of university life. Of course, if you're still making a decision and deciding to come to GCU, I'd encourage you to have a look at some of the things that we offer when you're here. So you have lecturers and teachers, but we have a plethora of support for you from our student union. So if you are interested in meeting friends, meeting like-minded people, they're there to support you and to guide you. We have career support. We have a library. We have people who are dedicated to developing your academic skills and your academic writing. Again, especially thinking of those of you who won't have English as a first language. But whatever stage you're at, we have people and support round about the university. Just to touch a little bit on the academic calendar that we have, it's fairly standard for UK university. I note at the moment we have a 12-week teaching period on each of our trimesters. but this is actually going to change to an 11-week period, just to give students a little bit more time in study periods. But that's just to give you a kind of a feel and a sense. It's subject to change, but it's just to give you a sense of it. Normally we have an intake on all of these programs that we offer. We have an intake in January and September. A couple of slides here just on how to do well, but I'll just kind of skip past for them. What I've not mentioned then, as I said with these slides, is the social innovation program. If any of you are on this call and would like some more information or to ask specific questions about that, do let me know. The social innovation program, like our business management program, like our supply chain management program, is about developing your employability skills, but within that, it's about creating people who want to be change makers. So a lot of it's quite theory-based, but there's a sense of practicality around about it as well. It's creating an entrepreneurial mindset. So those of you who are interested in creativity and innovation, entrepreneurial mindset will see this as perhaps a preferable program to undertake. When we say change makers, we're thinking about society as large, not just in a for-profit business sense, but it could be in how to serve public through public sector work, through charity work, through social enterprises. And there are, as I say, the university takes all these things and takes its role in our local community and our wider international community very seriously. So we have, we have a variety of entrepreneurial support in the UNIS Centre, which delivers this programme. As I say, it's about developing and giving that community to people who are looking to be, to develop an entrepreneurial style in maybe the traditional sense of for-profit and making money, but also that the solutions, the solutions to the problems, the grand challenges which are presented in this program, to say, are for the common good, for societal change, really reflecting the values of internationally the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but also locally here in Glasgow about our strive to deliver for the common good. There's information on gcu.ac.uk about that programme, and whether it is the international business, supply chain management, or the social entrepreneurship one that you're interested in. I'm happy to answer some questions just now. I'm also delighted if you decide to get in touch with us. You can email me directly, or you can email some of the generic email addresses which you'll have access to as well. Okay, so that is the my run through, and I will, as I say, I'll be delighted to answer any questions you have, whether they are now or a little bit later on down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. That was great. Really interested to hear the overview of all the courses. Now, we have actually had a question submitted from Naomi, so I'll just read this out to you if that's okay.
Sure.
They have asked, well, they firstly said thank you for the presentation, and it's super helpful. And they've said that you mentioned AI, so could you talk a bit more about how, or if it's incorporated throughout the course? They are looking at international ops and supply chain management degree, but concerned about how to ensure their skills can compete with AI in a few years' time.
Yeah, that's a great question, and we all are really. The great thing about, the thing about artificial intelligence in the kind of academic sphere at the moment is it is as new to you as it is to us. And at the moment, we are going through essentially going through this journey together. So as the technology develops, we are keep trying, doing our thing to try and keep up with it. What we are seeing now, I mean, at first, if you can be perfectly honest, it was a bit scary, because our kind of first reaction was, well, how do we stop students just using AI to cheat their way through assessments? So it was a very kind of sort of negative reaction. But what actually very quickly we're realizing in our teaching is that is learning how to use AI sensibly, ethically, looking at how it can help us solve problems. I mean, there's some fantastic news stories at the moment about how it can manage big data, and within that research, it's a very new and developing field. So if you come to join us in 5 months' time, something new will have happened. There'll be some new development. I think our mindset has developed very quickly at the university to see where it fits in. So I don't really know if it doesn't really answer the question, but I think what just to be aware of is it is a new phenomenon for all of us. And what you will have an opportunity to do, though, is work, especially when you get towards the latter part of your degree, and we have a research project. So I mean, this might be quite familiar to you, but you have to do it's often called a dissertation or a thesis, but it's effectively a 12,000 word individual research project. And within that, you would actually then have the opportunity to do your own research into how AI is being used or could be used in the field of operations management, in the field of supply chain management, how it can link in with other things like blockchain technologies to make that world better, or to be more competitive or more transparent or more open, or whatever it is that you're looking to do. And I'm confident in the staff that we have. And as I say, we've got active researchers, not just teaching staff, but we've got active researchers in this field who would be delighted to be part of that. So yeah, it's just an ongoing iterative thing. It's quite exciting. It's quite scary, but as I say, I think with the communities that we have of students, and the students then come in and do research as well, and you can be part of that. You can be part of that future, and I think we would be able to enable that for you. So it doesn't really answer the question, but maybe give you a sense of what we're looking to do with that.
Definitely, thank you. We did have another question actually that was sent in. The applicant is looking at the 2-year professional practice option of the course, and they're just wondering if you could again just talk a little more about if or how GCU provides support in finding that practical option. I think they mean in terms of the placement after.
Yeah. So the onus is on the student to find a placement job. Now, unfortunately, we don't have just a list of vacancies where you are then, you just go and choose it. But the university supports you in that. We have the Career Centre, we have links with industry, we have places where students have gone in the past. So we do have contacts, and we can support you up to a point, but ultimately it becomes you, the student's responsibility to get the placement job. But the university would write references for you, would give you contacts, would give you suggestions of places which you can go and try and find that placement job. When you have the job, the university supports you. You're still 100% a student of GCU, so you have an academic tutor and contact throughout that time. Where you say with the 2-year thing, you run the first year with everybody who, just as a normal kind of 1-year program, and then you do that placement in your second year. So there is a degree of flexibility as well for students who come thinking, I'm only going to do the 1 year, might change their mind and think, actually, I would like to do this with the professional practice. And similarly, you might come with in mind that you would like to do the professional practice, but you decide at some point that you would rather just complete the masters within the 1 year. Then you can kind of go between that as well. So university supports you as much as we can, but there's not a kind of off-the-shelf list, like 100% guaranteed, you come here and you'll do this particular placement. I think it's quite important we're honest about that, but we will do our utmost to make sure that you get a placement, and hopefully somewhere that you would like to work, an industry where you see yourself working in the future, to give you that help.
Thank you. Now, I see just another question that came in that's probably going to be a hard one to answer, because they've asked, from your point of view, which is better, the 1 year MSc or the 2 year? But I guess that's very subjective and open to everyone's personal.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely. It's on you as the individual, because whatever stage of life you're at, I don't know what age you are, I don't know what work experience you have. We have students that come into our program who have lots of work experience, and they're just looking to to come for the education, or even for the life experience of spending some time in Scotland and the UK and in the UK education system. And the 1 year just fits their lifestyle better. I think what the coming to do it with the professional practice does is that if you're not already set up in a career, if you don't have a career to go back to, and you're not quite entirely sure what you want to do when you graduate with your masters, then that gives you that additional experience, a kind of sort of safe thing. So to develop those, and to give you a chance to maybe to apply some of the skills that you've picked up in the university. If you are coming from overseas, English is not your first language. Being out in the workplace is a fantastic opportunity to develop language skills. I say that as somebody who did European languages as an undergraduate degree. There's only so much you can learn in a classroom. It's not until you're actually living in a country that has that language as the first language, and you're living and working there. So if you're really looking to come and develop your English language skills, if that's really important to you, getting a chance to work here would be invaluable, I would say. So yeah, as Katie says, that really subjective, really individual preference on there. I mean, I don't think the degree that you still come out with is potentially to prospective employers looks the same on paper, but if you don't already have a bank of work experience, if you don't already have that CV, then it might add something to there. So yeah, individual preference, I would suppose.
Thank you. Now, there was also a question about scholarships. So I've posted a link for anyone else who is interested in the available scholarships that Glasgow Caledonian offers. They are all listed on the scholarships page on our website. So it means you can go in and have a look and read through any that may be appropriate to yourself. So I would recommend everyone has a look there and sees if there are any scholarships they would like to apply for. There has also been a question about travelling. I think this means travelling to Scotland to study with dependents on a visa. Now, I would say that these rules are all set by the UKVI, and the university follows all guidance on this. So if you have questions about your specific visa or CAS, I would say to get in touch directly with our student support. We probably wouldn't that want to go into personal circumstances here on the webinar. So I would say reply to our student support team and they will be able to help you directly with your own personal circumstances and what it would look like for you travelling to the UK. I think that's probably best. Now, if anyone has any other questions, please do post those in the chat now. We can just wait a moment and see if there's anything else that we can help with. But again, as we've said throughout, and Gerald has said, you know, we're here to help at any time. So the support doesn't stop at the end of the webinar. Our student support team are always available, and as our academic team, just get in touch with ourselves and we will be happy to help and answer any questions throughout your journey when you're making this decision on what course you're going to be applying for and hopefully studying if you join us either in September or January. So it doesn't look like any more questions coming at the moment, Gerald. So I think if you're happy, we could probably end the webinar here and thank you for your time and thank everyone who's joined us today. It's been great to have you all here and we hope to hear from you soon if you have any further questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Gerald.